In this video, I'm going to be starting on a new vehicle on the channel. This is our 2017 VW Sportwagen. It is a 1.8 TSI 4-cylinder, and I'm going to be doing the 10,000 mile service. Over here it shows you all the things that need to be checked in the 10,000 mile service, and it's pretty much checking the brake pads, changing the engine oil and engine filter, and resetting the service display, and then checking windshield washer, headlights, wiper blades, fluids, just normal checks and top up as necessary. Prepare the engine oil filter to be removed, so I'm just going to take off this cover right here. Sorry about the tractor. You could probably get this off without removing this cover, but it's sort of in the way, so I'm just going to remove it. It's just held on there with some just clips that pop up on each corner, so that's pretty easy. You can see 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, now we're underneath the car looking from the back to the front, and here's the oil drain. It's on the oil pan, of course, and this is a plastic composite oil pan, and it has a plastic oil drain valve. Okay, to remove the drain plug, you just get something flat. I've got, hopefully this is focusing, but it's just a chisel. It's got a really wide tip, and so I'm just gonna turn that until the screw pops out, making sure that my oil doesn't go everywhere. There we go. And that's easy as pie. Now I started up the car before draining this so that the engine oil was a little bit warmed up. Here's what the drain plug looks like. And so, like I was saying, you just get a flat head, a wide one, and you can fit it in that groove and then twist it off. It's not held in there very tightly. It's got a nice O-ring seal that prevents the oil from leaking. Since it's got an O-ring and it's plastic, I'm going to go ahead and replace these. You can probably reuse them, but I wouldn't recommend it. As long as this O-ring isn't damaged or anything, it should still seal back up. But these are really cheap. You can buy them on online for a few bucks each, and so I'm going to replace mine as I do the oil change. The old filter is underneath this cover here, and you can see the new one I bought. It's just a paper filter. Comes with a new gasket, and to remove this top, I just so happen to have a 32 millimeter, and that fits perfectly on there, and so I will unscrew and remove this cap to get to the filter. Okay, I broke it loose with a 1/2-inch ratchet, and then you can just unscrew it. It's not leaking out any oil in there, so that's good. Okay, when I pulled the filter out, this center section, this dipstick or plunger came out with it, so watch that. That will probably cause some drips in the car, so watch that and make sure you have a rag underneath it. Okay, to get that filter out, you just grab a hold of the filter and you pull it out over this center plunger, and so that stays attached, and then we'll put the new one on just over that. Here's that O-ring that we got a new one of, so we'll remove that and then put the new one on. To remove the O-ring, it's not on there tight, so just any small screwdriver or pick will get under there. Make sure you don't scratch up the plastic surface or ruin the threads, and then just lift it off. It's pretty simple. Okay, this is the new O-ring on. Make sure you got it to this first slip. Don't push it all the way down to this slip that sits on the engine. It goes right in this groove here, right at the end of the threads. And then pushing on the filter, it'll pop into place. So if you got it all the way down to you feel resistance, keep pushing it until, see these inner plastic bits here, it should be fairly flush with that. If it's sticking out here, then it's out too far. You got to push it in a little bit further and it'll pop into place. It can go in either way. It's not directional or anything. Okay, back in the engine, just clean off the lip here so that it makes a good seal. Even though the O-ring sits down in there, I don't want to have any of that. There's some debris and road grime and stuff that's on that lip, so make sure that just is cleaned off so it makes a good seal. And the same thing on your actual filter canister. Clean off this lip here so that it makes a good mating surface. Okay, the torque spec for this filter housing is 25 to 30 Newton meters. It's written right on the top here of the unit. Okay, for putting back in the drain plug, this design is kind of ingenious. Like I said, it has a O-ring here, and there's no torque spec on this plastic bit, but it has a little lip here on the plug, and you can't see it on the actual unit, but there's the groove where that lip will fit into. So it's basically you turn it one turn and it'll snap into place, and then that's as tight as you need it. This filler cap has a really tight opening. It's got a really small opening, so use a funnel with a really small hole or a really small outlet, and that will fit in there. It's going to make filling the engine with oil a little bit slower, but that way you won't get oil all over the place. When you're looking for the correct engine oil to use, the VW manual specifies 5W30 or 5W40, and it specifies either 50 VW specification 50200, 50300, or 50400. And sometimes it's hard to find those specs that are written on the back of the bottle, but I found technical literature from Mobil One that does say that this full synthetic 5W30 is compatible with 50200 VW spec, so you can use that with confidence that you're using an oil that's not going to void your warranty. It specifies 5.7 liters or 6 quarts with the filter change to top up the oil, so I'll go ahead and put that in now. Alright, refill the engine oil until you get the oil level to the top of the hatched section of the dipstick, and then we'll turn the car over, let it run for a few seconds, and then recheck the engine oil level to make sure that it remains at the top of the hatch section. To reset the service indicator button, or the service now or service soon indication on the dash, you press and hold this 00 button. With your foot off the brake, press the start button, and then you release reset oil change interval, and then the service interval was reset. It's still asking if I want to change the oil or to change the oil now. So I've reset the service indicator, but there's two indicators. So there's an oil, a service indicator for the 10,000 mile service, and there's an oil change indicator. So the oil change indicator is still showing that it needs to be reset. So I'll have to press the stop button, wait for the display to go off, and then do it again. Okay, to check to make sure that the service intervals are reset, you can go into this car menu, then go down here to setup, scroll all the way, go all the way down until you see service, click that, and then you can see oil change service in 10,100 miles or 365 days, so that shows that it's been reset.
Okay, while we're under the car, I'll go ahead and do some other checks that we can do on this 10,000 mile service. So right here we can see the brake surface, the disc, and we can see that there's no major grooving in there. We can also check the brake pad health and the life, make sure that there's plenty of brake pad left, and I can see there is. It's hard for you to see it on the camera. You can also check the brake lines. Make sure there's no kinks or any damage from road debris in any of the hydraulic brake lines. So that all looks good.
Last two things to do with respect to the 10,000 mile service to check and top up windshield washer fluid. So just check in there. There's a screen in there. I'll just fill it back up to the bottom of that screen. And then also check the windshield wipers for any damage. Alright, that's it. The 10,000 mile service on the 1.8 liter TSI Golf or Golf Sportwagen. It's also on some other vehicles in the VW lineup. So just put the cover back on and snap it back into place. And then you're done.